You good? Good. I'm good too. Anyway, welcome back to my channel. My name is Aisha Noor, and here I do makeup while talking about murder cases that I cannot get out of my head, literally. Anyway, do not forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, and click that bell icon down below. So without any further ado, let's jump into the video, babies. Disclaimer: the following presentation contains graphic detailed descriptions of the crime scenes, mentions of sexual assault, and strong language. Viewer discretion is advised. So today I'm back again with another Kenyan story, and this one is a very disturbing and disgusting, to say the least. Let me put it in loose terms, story, and it happened in the town of Naivasha. So in 2008, the town of Naivasha was recovering from the post-election violence that had claimed over 1,000 lives across the country. So after just 8 months of like stability, people were getting on their feet, peace was like coming back, people were regaining peace, and the town was once again shaken. And this time it was not about machetes or guns or people fighting with pangas, residents killing residents. It was not about that. It was shaken by a single individual who struck immense fear all across the town of Naivasha. And in one of the estates in Naivasha town, earth movers were putting down a madhouse where it had been rumored that there was a dead body buried there. So they did acquire a decapitated, badly decomposed body of a female who is unknown, and police proceeded to arrest the man who was currently staying at that residence, and he was commonly known as Fongo. That was his alias, that's what he went by, that was his nickname. And this was when Naivasha discovered that they had a cannibal in town. And honestly, his arrest was really by chance, because he had kidnapped a 16-year-old girl who managed to escape after a week of torture, immense torture. She somehow miraculously managed to escape, and she went to police. So at first police just thought they were dealing with a case of kidnapping and that's it, but oh boy, they stumbled upon a series of murders by a single individual, cannibalism, sexual assault, all these things. So it was really by chance. So what police is going to learn next is really going to shock not only the town of Naivasha, but Kenya as a whole, and even the neighbors, because the neighbors had no idea what this guy was up to. And the 16-year-old girl claimed that she wasn't alone, that she was captured with another girl, and she was still at Fongo's residence, but she was too weak to even move, so they should hurry up and go and get her. That is when they stumbled upon all these things, and that is when they realized there was a dead body. The girls told the police that there is a dead body under the bed where Fongo was sleeping with the girls. Naomi Wanjiru is one among us, the two girls who was kidnapped. She was the one who was left behind. She was too weak to move, like I said earlier. And the other girl who was kidnapped, her name was Esther Akinyi. She was the one who literally saved her life and Naomi's life. But honestly speaking, we really do not know a lot about Esther Akinyi, because I think after this incident, she wanted to keep a low profile. So there's really not much about her. But the one that we're really going to talk about, and she actually did interviews and she talked a lot with publications, is Naomi Wanjiru. So this let's now jump into what happened, what led these girls to be in Fongo's house, how they ended up there, how the dead body ended up there, because Lord, oh Lord, it is a gruesome story to say the least. So this is the story of the infamous Naivasha vampire / cannibal, Geoffrey Matheri. I know some of you, maybe you've had him. If you've had him, tell me down below in the comments. So let's get into the main part of the story. So like I mentioned earlier, Matheri was arrested and he was captured by police, and he started talking right away. He started dropping names, and he was just not dropping any names. He was dropping big names, leaders, church leaders to be specific. He mentioned one pastor to be specific. He said that this pastor is the one who actually recruited him and told him that, he claimed to be in a cult, and that he approached him and told him that, Fongo, if you want to live a better life, you need to sacrifice like people, kind of like murder people. You need to murder people, and in return you'll get a good wife, kids. You'll have kids, you'll have a good life, you'll even have money. And at that time, this guy was a street kid, so he really did not have a stable home structure, family like life going on. So in his head, this is actually what he was telling publications and police. So this is what I'm saying is what he was saying. He did not have that, and he really wanted that. So he thought, hey, it's going to be actually really nice. It's going to be nice to have that. So he thought, okay, why not? I will do it. And he said that the pastor kind of like gave him some powers. I don't know, some powers, and he gained those powers, and then he started having the urge to like kill and to like do all these things. And then he was told that, oh yeah, your job is to like bring blood and private parts of the victims. So he is actually going to be jailed for illegal confinement of the two ladies only, and only one body was found, but he claimed to have killed over 20 people, and he claimed that he killed more men than women, and he claimed to be very powerful. He claims that he had powers, like I said, supernatural powers that he was given by this pastor. That is what he alleges. He says that you'll just greet his hand and you follow him. This really reminds me of the case of Philip Onyancha, funny enough, because Philip Onyancha claimed the same exact thing. I talked about in his story. Go check out, it's in my episode 3, I guess. Yes, you should go check it out. And funny enough, Philip Onyancha also claimed to have started his murderous endeavors in Naivasha. I'm not saying anything about the town. It's actually a really fun town. Naivasha is a really nice place. But that is what happened. I'm like, okay. And this Fongo guy, Matheri, he came about like 3 years after Onyancha was wiped out. So I don't know, like when I started thinking about it, I'm like, okay, so maybe he is your mentor. I don't know. I'm just thinking, because he came with the same exact storyline. I have powers, I just greet you, you follow me, I'm in a cult, I was groomed, because basically that's what also Onyancha claimed. Anyway, so this guy claimed that one pastor, Bishop Jeremiah Pelanjo, is the one who groomed him into this murderous occult life. And he really did stick by his story. I think up to date he still believes it. I'm not saying it didn't happen, and I'm not saying it happened because I wasn't there. I'm not part of that church. I wasn't part of that. I wasn't part of that. But I'm just saying, like, come on. You're going to learn later in the case where I'm like really skeptical about, Fongo's accusations towards this pastor. Anyway, so this pastor denied like all these allegations that Fongo was accusing him of. And Fongo was a street kid, and this pastor, he is as a part of his community work, he does feed the kids. He does kind of like take care of them, so they really do look up to him as like a father figure, more or less as like a father figure. So he wasn't shocked that Fongo mentioned him. He was like, well, maybe he just thought of my name because I feed these kids sometimes. I kind of like take care of them. So it's really unfortunate what happened. And this guy's allegations made that church to like kind of like crumble, because when the pastor was arrested, when the news broke out, and it was a big church, the pastor claimed that they had a congregation of like about 800 people, and it went down to like 200. I mean, that's 600 people. Like I mean, that's like a lot of people. They had, it really hurt the church, and they did not have it easy, not only the pastor but the church as a whole, and the pastor's family, because he had kids. So I had to do my eyebrows off camera because I cannot concentrate. It's either I do my eyebrows or I talk and not do my eyebrows. I cannot multitask when it comes to my eyebrows. Anyway, like I was saying, so it really did hurt this church, and people started talking bad about anyone who went to this church. They were like, if you go to that church, they used to tell you, if you went to that church and you were a bit, kind of like me, you had some, weight on you, they'd be like, mnakunywa damu ndo maana mmenonanona hivi. You're drinking people's blood, that's why you're looking healthy. Wait, but does blood make you look healthy or young? Because there's this like queen, it's like a very old story. She was a female serial killer, but she was kind of like a leader, a queen, some sort of thing like that. She used to like murder young women and like bathe in their blood because she believed that the blood is going to make her stay young, forever young and beautiful. And her skin, it was mentioned that her skin was very like a baby's butt, very nice, and she really never aged as she should, as most of us do. So does it? I don't know. I'm just thinking. But tell me if you know about human blood, because I hear a lot of people, or these cases of cannibals or people who consume blood. Most of them consume blood for that reason. Yo, I don't know. I'm just curious. Is it wrong to be curious? I don't think so. Anyway, so it did hurt that child. This is what Fongo claims. He claims that Mans was given like a black blood, like a black matter, like dried blood. You know how when your blood dries or when it cuts, it forms like a blood thingy? Yes, he was given that and he swallowed it, and he just felt powerful and unstoppable. He even said that he doesn't really find killing to be that difficult. It was easy for him. It was a very easy task. It really did never bother his head. And you're not even going to believe what he said when he was asked about, him consuming people's him consuming people's flesh and drinking their blood. You're not going to believe that. After 14 days, he was charged with the illegal confinement of the 2 ladies. Yeah, just that. So one of the ladies, like I mentioned, her name was Naomi Wanjiru. She claimed that she witnessed Matheri literally eat the flesh of, the other girl, Esther Akinyi. This is what Matheri will do. This is what she says, that he will literally bite into her skin. And even after they were, found and saved by the police, there were pictures. I saw those pictures. They are really not, disclaimer, they're not for everybody's eyes. Like, she had deep bite marks in her back because fongo would, like, into her flesh, bite into her flesh, and he will, like, drain Naomi, sorry, he will drain Naomi's blood and down the meat with blood, like how you do China cutting, how you drink tea and bread. That's how he used to do with people's flesh and with blood. And he said, he was asked, this is what he said, he was like, nafanya hivyo, I do that. See, it's like, it's kind of like salty. Kama, he said, it's like the way you put salt on an egg. Kama vile tu unaeka chumvi kwa mayai. Sindio. Like, he was really nonchalant about it. And the whole time I'm like, what? Anyway, Naomi, this is how Naomi got to be kidnapped, because we're only going to know about Naomi because Esther really did keep a low profile, like I mentioned earlier. There's really not much about her, so we really don't know what her side of the story clearly. We only saw a bit when she was in the hospital and she was being interviewed. Naomi said that she had 2 kids, by the way. She was going to the shop at around 7 p.m. as she always does. And as she was walking, she met 2 street boys. They greeted her. They're like, hey, hi, mambo poa, fine. And then she just passed. She continued walking. And then she met other 2 street kids who stopped her. And then when she turned to look back, I think she was trying to escape. The previous 2 boys who were, who greeted her came back. They were also stopping her from the back so that she cannot escape. And she said that one moment she was scared, obviously. One moment she was there standing with these boys, and then the next she doesn't remember what happened. They really put they made her go unconscious, in short. And when she woke up in a very strange house, a strange bed. It was a mad house. And she remembers thinking, like, where am I? What am I doing here? She really does not recall much. And then this figure, this man entered. When you see Fongo, he is a very masculine guy. So he is a very strong guy. Even Naomi, she's going to later say that she could feel his strength when he was doing whatever he was doing to them. This guy, he is so masculine. His chest is like WWE. He's masculine, he's strong. So he's like, this masculine figure entered. He was wearing a black coat from top to bottom. We get what you were trying to do, and you did succeed. This black figure, he was wearing a black trench coat, and he just entered. And then he started, like, Naomi was like seated here, and then he just started walking around her, not saying a word. And she didn't know what she was in for. Hey, I am telling you, Naomi, she hadn't seen if there was someone in the bed. And then Fongo told that other person, move, where's Songa? So she looks over and she'd realize it is actually a human female person there. But she's like, it's not like the way Naomi describes it, it's like she was not even a human being, because she was so like a balloon. You know how when someone is dead and then the decomposition, you know how they kind of like I have lost words. Yes, that's how, you know, that other girl was. And she was not even dead, she was alive. Like, this is the perfect description of being dead alive. So, long story short, this guy sexually abused not only Naomi but also Esther. He tortured them, and this guy was ruthless. He did not care, and he was going to kill them, but he said that he was told by his mentors, his groomers. They told him that, you know, you've killed enough, don't kill anymore. Okay, sawa. So this is what he will do. Naomi says that Fongo will literally eat. I not only hate and fear, I loathe rats, mice, any sort of rodent, but he will take rats alive and he would put them in his mouth and literally eat them like that. I mean, this guy, I don't know if he was okay mentally, but yes, when he was captured by the police, a mental evaluation was done to him and Pastor Jeremiah, and they were both found, okay, Pastor Jeremiah, obviously he's sane, but also Fongo was found to be sane. But I don't know, maybe he's just a sadistic person, very, very sadistic. Because how do you eat rats that are alive? At least cook them, boil them, roast them. I've seen people roasting rats and eating them. You don't eat things alive. But this guy. So Naomi, she says that she was so in and out of it. She used to lose it and then she'd come back to her senses, that she thought all this was just a joke, like it was her imagination playing with her. But then she was so tired, she was like, you know what, F it, whatever fucking happens, I do not care. If I die, I die. She alikuwa amechoka kabisa, she just did not care. So she was always in and out of it, and until she says when she realized this guy was doing this was when he gave her a live rat and, you know, told her, like, open your mouth, fungua mdomo, and put a live rat into her mouth. And she was like, what? So because she was like in so much fear, and honestly she did not care. She was like, you know what, I've given up, and whatever happens, I just don't care. So she did exactly that. And so Fongo was like, funga mdomo, close your mouth. And you know, it's a live rat, so it's moving inside. So the only thing you can do is like bite it. And she did it until it was finished. And she swallowed it. I can imagine, like, this is not the trauma. I mean, like, I can just imagine if that would like happen to you or me, just normal people. That's bad. Once I be the way I fear rats, and someone do that to me, I'm dead. I'm dying. That's it. You finished me. So one time, Fongo told Naomi to kind of like sleep under the bed. And she always noticed that there's a lot of like worms coming out of there. And she was like, is it me? Because they were in a really bad state. That house, it was a filthy place. Dried blood of the two victims, blood of the rats. It was just a dirty place. And he used to drain blood and then put the blood in like metal cups, like yellow metal cups. I know you know them. Yeah, hizo ndo alikuwa anawekea damu. And kwa sufuria, in like cooking pots, he'd also like drain blood and put the blood he would consume there, and then the blood he would take to the pastor, quote unquote. He'd put it in like a bottle and take it to his bosses, alleged bosses, which I really do not buy. I really don't buy that story of the pastors being his bosses. He was just looking for somebody to blame. Well, guess what? Anyway, and she was like, wait, is this me? Is this Esther? I don't know. And but then he didn't even want them to like be talking. He was like, you guys are talking. No, we're not talking. The control factor. He wanted to be in like total control of every single effing thing that they do. So, oh my God. So, and then the smell, she says the smell that was coming from under the bed, it was a very particular smell of decomposition. It was not a normal type of smell. And I've heard this from like a lot of people. And when you watch a lot of Friends or anybody who has ever smelled a dead body, I am afraid of them. I do not. Anyway, anyone who's like ever come across or had the opportunity to smell a decomposing human body, the one thing that they say is that it has a very, very particular smell of decomposition. Like you cannot miss it and you cannot forget it. It's not like the rest, So I was doing my eyeliner. Anyway, so Naomi realized that the warmth and the smell of that was coming from under the bed, because she was sleeping literally under the bed on like the floor kwa mchanga, because it was a madhouse on the soil. The smell and the warmth, they were not coming from her, they were coming from like under there. And later on is when she realized that she spent that day with the dead body hapo. She's like, I knew hiyo siku nililala na maiti hapo chini, because before she didn't realize, she was trying to like think what was happening. And you remember how I said that Materi Fongo used to like bite into Esther Akinyi's flesh and down it with Naomi Wanjiru's blood, because these wounds, they were like open wounds and they were not treated or sanitized or anything of the sort. So they continued getting worse to the point they started removing worms. Worms started coming out of her wounds. Those girls were literally dead alive, like I mentioned earlier. And Naomi said that he would like poke her, maybe tie with a knife and try to drain blood, and until the cup is filled. And if the cup is not filled, he would poke another area of the body. He'd do that several times until he got the blood that he wanted. When they were rescued, they really had no blood in their bodies. Very, very, very little. He feasted on their flesh, raw flesh, and he drank their blood, and he sexually assaulted them and he tortured them for a whole week. This man did very despicable things, and you do all those things and you come back and you try to tell us that it's not me, it's the devil's work. It's the devil's doing. It's not me. I'm sorry, I cannot do such things. I was not in my right mind. Really? I don't think so. So investigations were conducted. They wanted to find out if the pastor, was behind all of this, and they did not find any evidence backing Mathery's claims. So the pastor was, he was released. Obviously, they did not find any evidence linking him to your dirty doings. And this guy, he did claim that, you remember I told you that he said he'd kill more men than women. Before he kidnapped the two ladies and murdered one and buried her, below his bed, he said that he used to kill men and women and take their, areolas, their private parts and their mammary glands. I don't know what he'd do with them, and drain their blood. And he said that how he'd dispose of the bodies, he'd put the bodies in front of a rail, and when the train comes, it will just pass by them, and people would, when they are found, people would think oh, they think it was an accident, but honestly it was his doing. That's what he claimed, but no evidence to back all this up was ever found, and that's why he was only charged for illegal confinement of the two ladies, not murders. And not to mention, he also feasted on the woman he killed, that woman that was found under his bed. Her body was found decapitated, like I mentioned earlier. Her leg was, I think, missing, or parts of her bodies were missing, which were clearly, he clearly feasted on them. He had a feast. It was Christmas for him. Naomi said, Esther is the one who miraculously managed to escape and go to the police. But Esther said that, yes, she did gain her freedom and all, but it did not come easy, as, that day when police were coming for this guy, he had heard that the police were coming for him. So what happened is, he took Naomi and was like, you know what, you're dead, mate. I'm just going to kill you. So he took her and they went behind his house where they were staying, and he put two stones. So he'd put one stone here, and then he put Naomi's head, and then he'd put another stone, so that he'd chop off her head and it would fall off the other side. And Naomi was so Naomi really did not care anymore. She was like, you know what, I don't care. So she even said in an interview she was just waiting for it to happen. And then after he put her head, he just stabbed her on her neck, right here. He stabbed her, but then he stopped. He did not proceed with chopping her head off, severing her head. And she remembered, she just turned and was like, why, what happened? And she says that at that moment, it was like a miracle, because police came at that exact moment. And she said, because he was preparing himself to chop her head off. And he even told, the audacity, he even told Naomi pray, say your last prayers, and then I'm gonna kill you, you know. So the police came, and she said that if the police were like even 10 seconds late, she would have been dead. You know, fate. God works in wondrous ways. It was not her day yet. Haikuwa imefika. It was not written that she was going to die that day. I mean, she was that close to, you know, death, and she had been close to dying for over a week, but luckily they survived. So when they were taken to the hospital, family members came, and they could not recognize their girls because they did not look like themselves. So Naomi went through a lot. Her husband left her, and it's so sad that this is how people have stigmatized victims, like, you know, victim blaming. She even says herself that I don't blame my husband for leaving me. Honey, none of this was your fault. But her husband left her and her kids. Her family literally abandoned her. She doesn't have a lot of people around her. She says that she's trying to like put her life back together, and she's going back to school, trying to gain education and putting her life on track. And she says that if it was not for her kids, she would have offed her life. She would have offed her life. Like, I'm done, switch off. But every time she remembers that her kids are going to be left alone, and they're going to be street kids like Materi, and they are the possibility of them doing to others what Materi or Fongo did to her really is what is keeping her. She wants to like take care of her kids to the best of her ability, her two kids. So it is really sad. And she says that she was traumatized by this incident so much that when she was in hospital, she couldn't sleep because she'd like literally feel him under the bed. She'd feel him under the bed, and when she'd look at the next patient, she'd see as if it's Fongo. Like everywhere she looked, she just saw his freaking face. She was really traumatized for a very long time. She couldn't sleep. She couldn't like live her life peacefully or normally because of what this guy did to her. And it is very, very sad. But right now she is, say hi. Right now she is doing much better and trying to live her life for her kids, basically. About Esther Akinyi, we don't know what happened afterwards, but what we know for sure is that she moved out of Naivasha and tried to start her life elsewhere, keeping a very low profile. So yeah, and Fongo is still in prison. And he says that he's now a changed man. They always do. He says now he's a changed man, and he is a preacher, and he aspires to be one if he ever gets out. Good for him. I'm happy for his newfound hobby, preaching. But anyway, so there is the story of this Naivasha cannibal who used to eat people's flesh, raw flesh. I wanted to say raw flesh, and downed it with blood, his victims' blood. And he was the kind of living conditions he put his victims through, especially Esther Akinyi and Naomi. It was really disgusting and gruesome and terrifying. For me, I cannot, like, I just tried imagining what they went through, and it's, I don't know what to say. Anyway, so that is today's story of Geoffrey Materi Fongo. No, Geoffrey Materi alias Fongo. And yeah, this is today's makeup look. Hi. My cat says, our cat says hi. Bear says hi. You've seen her. She has a boyfriend. Anyway, so don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, click the bell notification, click the bell icon down below, and get notified every time I post. And I know it's been like 3 weeks I didn't post. I've been quite busy, but now I'm back. I'll be posting more consistently from now henceforth, like I used to. So yeah, be safe and be happy. That's today's message. Be safe and just be happy. That's all. Anyway, so see you in my next video. What's up, besties? Bye.